You're driving through Parkersburg, West Virginia, taking in the vistas of the Appalachian Mountains. Suddenly, a crash, and an unidentifiable vehicle lands on the front of your truck. From a glowing object that resembles a kerosene lamp, a man exits. He has a dark tan, a green metallic suit, and a chilling grin from ear to ear. He says to you, without using his voice, "I am Indrid Cold, and I'm here to finger you." Today on Sexy Beasts, we're talking the single cryptid, weirdo, smiling man that is Indrid Cold. Take it away, Jago.
Sexy beast. You're so sexy. All you Loch Ness monster. Oh, are you cryptid?
Keep going.
But Tony and Jago. Oops, is Indigo. Hey, come on
easy
after me.
bit.
Fuck said you could laugh at me, smack with me, with a big
Black
foot
with
dick,
me.
slap with me, blasphemy.
No.
You could dare come at me with a big foot dick and Loch Ness monster pussy.
Hey,
Big face,
sexy
sexy
beast.
beast.
Good day. Oh, who's that Australian? Get out of here. Not because I hate Australians, but because you don't belong in here. Hey, Australians. Welcome to Sexy Beast, your foray into the menagerie of the unexplained. Who let that go in again?
Hope he's not Australian.
It's not Australian. Every podcast is devoted to a specific creature, cryptid, or monster. We discuss its history, its merits, and using our FECS analysis, we rate and review the beast against other creatures in our premier crypt. Actually, no, sorry. This could be your first episode. Let me explain what this is. It's a monster review show, and be sure to listen all the way to the end of the episode because we're going to be closing it out with our sexy little top trumps. And if someone happens to send in a freak encounter, we might read that as well. My name is Tony Cantwell, and when I'm not podcasting and making people roll over and die from laughter, my personal profession, I like the hop house. I like drinking hop house.
Oh,
as an alternative to lager. There's my recommendation. Jago, anything you like?
So my go-to beer at this day and age is Lagunitas. So if you ever see me out in a pub and I'm crying into my pint,
Sure.
buy me a Lagunitas.
Languinita,
please.
is it? Languinita, is it?
Languinita, yeah. I think.
I'm thinking of the big prawn, the
langoustines. Also, buy me a pig prawn as well.
If you see me crying into a pint, if you see me crying in a pint of Lagunitas, buy me a langoustine. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, brilliant. How much were those improv classes?
Too much. Jago, did you know that Lagunitas is one of the highest calorific beers in existence?
Tell that to my belly.
Okay. Can you get it close to me? I lied. Remember I said I'd tell your belly that Lagunitas? I lied. And I'm kissing it now.
He likes it. It's scared. That's
Starship Troopers.
A niche reference from Starship Troopers with what's his name? Neil Patrick Harris. If you haven't watched it, actually check it out. It's pretty cool. It's a jingoistic sort of satire on Bugs v Man.
Well, yeah. When you had jingoist satire, I'm like, he's going to fuck this up massively.
And you were right.
Yep. Mark Jago, we have a slippery little, almost creepy, past a little lively fella on the show tonight.
Yeah, it's a first for Sexy Beast. We have a specific individual, like a man-ish, a humanoid shape, because we had the Beast of Givaudan.
Beast of Givaudan.
Yeah, so which was like a one creature. But we have Indrid Cold.
Indrid Cold.
Great name, I have to say. So
if his name in Irish, you could call him Farfour.
Oh, the Cold Man, is it?
Yeah, whatever.
Far.
Whatever, I'm bored, what I just said. Far Schnockta, you should call my guy, he'll be here in half an hour, 80 quid.
Clear your drive.
What?
Clear the drive.
To clear my drive. Mr. Plow.
Mr. Plow.
He's a Mr. Plow impersonator.
Yeah, Indrid Cold. He's from the great place in America, West Virginia.
The great place that it is, West Virginia. Right. So you are, Mark Jago, you are at one of those patented West Virginian frat parties.
Yeah.
Where, called, dude economy and the big red font or something like that. And
everyone has those red cups. Red Solo
Everyone
cups.
has those red cups.
Yeah.
And
There's an air of frat superiority around.
there's an air of superiority. There's an air of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
There's an air of let's just make sure everyone here is getting home okay.
Yeah.
But that's not what you're there for. You're there to get fucked.
Yeah.
You get chatting to some hot exchange student from Bulgaria.
Oh, can't wait for this accent.
Yeah.
And I walk up to her and I get her close to her ear and I say, Cold?
Hey, what you say?
I said, Indrid Cold, aka the Grinning Man from West Virginia, is a tall, 6 foot to 7 foot, grinning, hence the name, otherworldly, beady-eyed man with a bald head and a shiny metallic suit. He says to be telepathic and appear at accident scenes.
If you take out your cock, I'm gonna be so noisy.
No, he did. Yeah, so that's the basis of him. So he's a guy who's been spotted numerous times around West Virginia.
West Virginia's a spooky place.
A lot of cryptids come along there. Mothman,
Mothman, you got it.
Bigfoot,
Oh, a type of Bigfoot.
a type of Bigfoot. They're
The origin of the MIBs.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Jersey Devil.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, spreads out that far.
Well, that's Jersey, no?
Yeah, could be. But anyway,
Is West Virginia near Jersey?
I don't know. Apparently, there's sightings. We've mentioned it before that West Virginia has like sightings of similar creatures.
That's what you're saying, really. Yeah, we've said it before. New Jersey's right beside West Virginia, and there's loads of sightings.
It's definitely not beside it. But yeah, so he's a tall 6 foot to 7 foot, very broad man. He's described as having a very otherworldly smile that stretches from ear to ear, almost unnaturally. Very small, sunken, beady eyes. Wears a lot of reflective sunglasses as well. And his suit is made from a material shiny metallic.
Jesus.
Like those pants that Unique used to have in, in Stephen's Green Shopping Centre.
Yeah, like a kind of nylon, you might even say.
Yeah, but this is back in like 1975 was his first sighting. Now there has been numerous sightings since then.
Wow.
But in 1975, no one would be caught dead with a sheen suit.
So I don't want to, maybe I don't want to blow my load here, but I mean, in terms of evidence, but if there was a chap who was just even wearing Oakley shades in the 60s, I'd be like,
Those, did you ever see those pictures like, oh, we caught a time traveler and it's some guy walking by with a black phone, like just walking by, like the Titanic pictures.
Yeah.
Like,
or like Mike Tyson at a boxing match and someone has a camera phone.
Yeah.
And it's like time travelers caught.
Or like it was a guy, a Jay-Z, a guy who looked a bit like Jay-Z, and it's like, is this racist a bit? Like, are you just comparing two black people together?
Oh, Jesus, I hope not.
Yeah, it was a bit, and everyone's like, no, that's just really fucked up, man. You can't do that. Yeah, so as I said, there's been sightings of this. The very first sighting, will we need that for evidence? It goes back to 1966 was the first sort of big sighting of it. But in that same year, there was also a lot of UFO sightings as well. So a lot of people were sort of putting these two and two together. Now, when I explain it to a person, he doesn't sound that exciting.
No,
He's
especially not if you're chatting up some bird at a party.
Yeah, it's like, have you seen that tall man who smiles a lot? And it's like, I can't wait to go home with her. And it's like, excuse me, what are you talking about? But it's all about his sort of mythos and his background and how he appears and what he does. He's very synonymous with West Virginia. People like are very proud of him as well.
Interesting.
There's a real sort of like pride, like, oh, my great grandfather was like saw Indrid Cold and like, oh, what a lucky son of a gun. I'm gonna vote for Trump.
Well, we don't know. We don't. Was that a red state in the end?
It was one of the most. It was originally a Democratic state, and it swung so hard to Republican.
Whoa, swang so hard, you fucking red on my face from that swinging slap.
From that swinging slap. It's all about the coal mines. Huge coal mines.
Ooh, of course. Do you know what, actually, Jago? Given the fact that we're probably going to be going into fighting, maybe it would be wise to give some level of context for the Smiling Man. Maybe one of the first sightings, if you could mention before we go into fighting and evidence.
Okay, so in 1966, two boys were walking along an escarpment, and when they saw a man standing beside a big fence, he was taller and wider than the fence. Not wider than the fence, taller and broad. He was wearing a metallic suit, fucking H's everywhere, and he had beady eyes, and he was grinning from ear to ear, and scared them. So they ran away, and they told someone like that, and then a UFOologist at the time, who was a very famous actor, can't remember his name, I haven't written it down.
Fair.
Was the 6'2", very big man, and the boy said he was a lot bigger than him, and they were terrified of him. They felt they felt he was trying to talk to them. They felt like pains in their head.
Ooh.
So I read the story, and then as adults they kept telling the same story, but then they finally admitted that they felt some sort of astral presence in front of them, scary to them. So
Sometimes that's the vibe I get off you, Jacob. Like, are you trying to read my head, or are you just trying to get a sentence out? I don't know, sometimes. So put it in context. This Indrid Cold, this is essentially a 6 foot, some would say bald, some would say slick back, almost Sicilian looking hair, of a dark complexion, big smiling face, but pretty much just a handsome human with an otherworldly grin.
Yeah, very tan for West Virginia.
Very tan for West Virginia, and especially at that time of year when there wouldn't have been particular, especially one of the bigger sightings that was that comes later on. But essentially, a telepathic tall human. Does that sound like someone
Just
who...
picture Christopher Walken in True Romance. That's how I'm picturing.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, in his blue shiny suit when he's talking to Dennis Hopper.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it's a bit scary. Christopher Walken scary. Anyway, can this Christopher Walken look like fight?
Fighting.
No, see, listen here. Listen up to the story about a little man in a green suit, and Indrid Cold was his name every day and every night, and he was a telepath and very broad. Yeah, so
I should have put a beat on that. Jamie, please put a beat on that.
yeah, he's a So first of all, descriptions of him having telepathic abilities. So there's no verbal communication ever as being uttered from this grinning man's mouth. It's just a constant grimace on his face. So whenever he looks at you, stares deep into your eyes with his beady black dark eyes, or over the top of his glasses, you hear his name reverberated around your skull, and usually his intentions are honourable.
Interesting.
There's not a lot of... There is a few unsubstantiated rumours about him chasing people down dark alleys and brutally beating them, but there's no evidence towards that.
I get that's a bit of a creepypasta.
Yeah,
vibe.
so what happened was Indrid Cold was sort of picked up by the internet community and ruined, of course, Twitter generation. God, born in...
God.
Yeah, but basically it was turned into a creepypasta about a grinning man chasing someone down the road and beating the shit out of him.
Well, if you're trying to kind of picture in your brain what Indrid Cold might sound like speaking to you telepathically in your head, there was a phone call in the movie The Mothman Prophecies where Indrid Cold calls Richard Gere, and this is what his voice sounds like.
Hello, John Klein.
Who is this?
My name is Indrid Cold.
Unless, of course, you're Gordon Smallwood.
Your father was born in Racine, Wisconsin. He lived in a green house on Monroe Street.
And it goes on like that. It's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, that is very creepy. Sort of babyish in a way.
I'm a baby.
I'm a beautiful baby.
I'm a beautiful... I don't see babies in that kind of way, Jago.
Oh, I was a beautiful baby. Won a few competitions.
Did you?
Yeah. I still have a mother of pearl comb at my parents' house where I won for a beautiful Purcell baby competition.
Can't believe they sexualized you like that.
Well, I had loads of big fluffy hair, and they were all like, his little blue eyes.
I've seen pictures of you, and you knew how to strike a pose.
I did.
Oh, look, I'm carrying this teddy that's almost bigger than me, and my fingers in my mouth, and I'm looking class. In terms of how babies look.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Back to this fighting ability of his creepy alien. Sorry. It's, yeah. So, yeah, again, doesn't seem to have a lot of... It does have teleportation abilities as well.
Sure.
Or he does have teleportation himself. Has a very broad man, incredible strength. Is apparently during an incident you saw, he was able to move a car out of a ditch on his own.
Who did this?
Indrid Cold.
Who saw him do this?
One of the people who said they saw him said after there was a crash involving his ship. It was not the main guy who I think we're going to talk about, Dornberger, or yeah. It was a different guy who said apparently, but this guy was a bit of a copycat, sort of had the exact same story as Dornberger, and he said he claimed that the guy just picked his car up and took it out of a ditch.
Interesting. Well, something that's a bit of a spanner in the works for Mr. Indrid Cold is he says, one of his first things he says is, we eat, we breathe, we sleep, and we bleed as you do.
So he's a bit of a pussy.
So he's a bit of a pussy because us humans are pussies.
Yeah. Yeah,
so we eat, we breathe, we sleep, we bleed, we blind,
And Tony's Eurovision Song Contest entry is on its way, flying over to Israel.
That's it. Off to Israel, doing a version of Alanis Morissette's You Learn.
Oh shit, is that a song?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And you know what as well? I'm sick of people coming back and trying to I get people cancelling things just because, we know more information now. Celebrities are not put on the same kind of pedestal as we are. That's good. We're all humans. So then, the people we choose to befriend, we want to know stuff about them. We found if someone did something weird, we wouldn't be friends with them. You don't want to support people. When people go cancelling things, being like, oh, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill just doesn't hold up because it's too immature, and trying to be like, I'm just trying to be fucking a contrarian. There was a fucking Jezebel article really pissed me off about that album.
Oh.
It's a class album.
Yeah,
tearing it to shreds, being, if you really think about it, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill actually isn't, fuck off.
The thing is, though, we're looking back and
we're looking for something to say.
with,
Shut up.
Years of improvement. You know what I mean? I'm not going to look back and be like, oh, Vivaldi's Fifth Symphony was so pedestrian, because it didn't have a 808 drum or Kanye West on it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it pisses me right off.
Looking through our rose super lenses, but anyway. He is, as you said, he is a bit like a human, but you have to give him the telepath thing.
100%. He can read your thoughts. He knows he can do that kind of I'd love to see Frank Miller write a comic about it, being like, he's about to throw a punch. I dodge. I know that he's got one broken rib. I kneel him in the crotch.
I kneel on his crotch.
I kneel on his crotch.
This is unnecessary.
This is unnecessary.
So he can basically be like, you got to hit him. He's like, I know I'm going to hit you. I've finished you in 3 moves. This fight is over. And you're like, fuck, he's beat me.
But he is potentially a angel of pure truth and love and beauty.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't really done anything untoward, and I don't think he really has any kind of aggressive streak in him. First thing he says to the first person he meets is, we come in peace, essentially. We bring you love, I bring you happiness, and, that's shit for fighting.
But the thing is, though, it's not like he obviously, if he's an alien, he has interstellar travel. Who knows that his green metallic suit is not some sort of battle armor just in case he gets into a fucking fight.
What if you throw a dig and it starts wrapping around your fist like some sort of a liquid?
Yeah.
Unreal. Well, I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though we don't know that.
So, yeah, I literally just gave him a 5.
I gave him a 4, but I'll go to a 5 because of telepathy.
Because, no, 5 is human.
Then we need to give him a 6.
Okay, we give him a 6.
We run a democratic ship here. Yeah. Look, we know that this thing is a tall Sicilian man. We know. Do you want to join? Is that what you're doing?
No, is it a pen? Have you got a pen?
Well, maybe don't put a pen up to your mouth like that. No, I don't have a pen. We know he's a Sicilian man. We know that he's 6 foot tall. We know that he is telepathic, and we know that he can fight better than the average human, which is that, not to say not as good as Jago. But does he? Whatever, fucking evidence.
That was a long one.
But what is the evidence, sir? I'm just writing something down.
This really gilded my eggs.
Gilded eggs?
Yeah. That's how fancy I am.
Wow.
It's a deep one. It's a deep cut.
It's a deep cut, but with some
caveats.
Caveats.
Can
we hear? You probably have more evidence than I do.
Yeah, so gotta go to 1966. Woodrow Derenberger was driving down the street. We've actually our best friend David Attenborough actually described this pretty well.
Yeah.
He heard a crash, and in front of it was a large vehicle fashioned like an old kerosene lamp chimney.
So picture that. Are we thinking Green Lantern?
I was, yes, like that sort of thing. But he said that there was a bright iridescent light coming out of it, which is kind of iridescent is weird. Then
luminous.
A large, tall man, bald man, sort of came out, telepathically communicated with Derenberger, and basically said, "We come in peace. My name is Indrid Cold. I mean you no harm. I'm just here to observe." He then went on to describe that he's actually from the planet Alanulus, from the Ganymede system.
Interesting.
He claims that he's not the only grinning man that has been to Earth. He says there's multiple grinning men, and they're all here as observers.
Interesting. I'm just reading. I'm trying to read more about Alanulus here. And it's just the exact same thing that we had
at the top of the show
written here. But the first sighting was, as he said, two young boys in Jersey. It was just me, Martin Mouse Manove, and James Jimmy Unitas. in New Jersey. We were walking 4th Street and we saw a surreal figure standing near a fence. We walked closer and the figure, this bald guy with a green metal suit, was standing right there. Jimmy nudged me and said, "Who the fuck is that guy standing behind you?" I said, I looked around. They said, "This guy's fucking behind a fence." And then he pivoted around and looked right at us. He had a big old fucking grin.
And he said, "Am I funny to you?
What am I, a clown?
What am I, a clown?
What am I, a train? What am I, choo-choo? Huh? What am I, a fucking dart?
The dart?
What am I, the dart? Am I fucking choo-choo to you?
What am I, the spire?"
Sticking you.
Yeah, so that was the very first sighting. But
That was October, and then November 2nd was the Woodrow Derringer.
Woodrow, just a Dernberger.
Dernberger. No, it's Berger.
The way you said it, yeah. But apparently on that same night, there was UFO spotted all around that area, up to a 40-kilometer radius from that area where he was hit with the traffic or whatever, this flight. Since then, yeah, fucking hell. Since then, there's been numerous sightings. There's a reported up to 200 sightings of a grinning man. There's photographic evidence,
Jesus,
of this man. Now, I think if you look him up, it looks pretty cool.
He looks like a pretty cool beatnik.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like a kind of...
He's not smiling that much, though.
Yeah, he looks miserable as fuck.
Maybe that's the one time. Maybe in his culture, smiling is the norm, and you get sad for pictures.
Maybe kind of like
reverse,
like Native Americans. Now, keeping in mind that the Mothman, who I feel, because there was a lot of research, we didn't do much of it and didn't give it a very good score.
Now,
like,
listen,
we could have read a book on Mothman. But
there is a book on Mothman.
There is a book called Mothman. But basically, this second sighting, you have the first sighting of Indrid Cold in October 16, 1966. November 2nd, 1966, you have the second sighting. And then November 12th, you have the first sighting of the Mothman.
Yeah, so that's a prevalent theory that has run through this whole sort of spaghetti western of ideas that is Indrid Cold. That he is the Mothman in a humanoid sort of camouflage.
Out of costume,
yeah. He thinks that he comes to Earth to sort of warn people about imminent disasters, or his job is he's sort of like health and safety for the universe. He turns up and says, "That bridge is going to collapse," and he collapses, and no one listens to him because he's a fucking he's dressed like a moth.
Yeah.
So then they thought, okay, maybe put Indrid Cold in sort of a cool beatnik's body.
Yeah.
And people would be more likely to listen to him. Well,
I mean, that is the dream. Although, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, what do humans like? They like happiness and love. So just smile loads, and it's like, that's too much of a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Indrid Cold is too much of a good thing because it's creepy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He scared the fuck out of this guy.
So yeah, so if someone's been watching, especially from say, like, since television started up until like the 1975 or 1966 one, like a lot of the television would have been very family friendly sort of orientated. There wouldn't be any sort of like sad melodramatic stuff. So I assumed that he'd be like, "Hey, it's me, Indrid Cold."
It's me, Indrid Cold. You have a great hairline, by the way.
Thank you. It's very strong.
Very, very strong.
What were you doing? I was trying to talk to you. I was talking to you.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to you. I was looking at your hairline.
Oh,
it's
cool.
Fantastic. My V is getting more pronounced as my wings kind of go up, you know? I'm gonna hear.
You're what's called a fucking.
The hair's disappearing up the wings of my head.
Anyway, there's another theory that Indrid Cold is actually a mischievous
magician,
a magician's sleeve, a mischievous spirit that of a beatnik who actually died in a car crash in that area, and he turns up, says he's an alien, but he's actually a ghost, which is. Pretty fucking funny if you think about it. Like,
if you were a ghost,
if I was a ghost, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm an alien." Beep, boop, boop, boop.
That's genius.
Yeah.
Or I'm a robot. Or I would just inhabit like kettles and be like, "I'm a robot kettle."
Yeah. Please don't put water in me.
I'm a ghost. It's fine.
I'm a ghost.
Now there was the third sighting in Point Pleasant, in West Virginia, the Lilly family.
Yes.
Sorry, did you just say this?
No, this links into it. So this is where I sort of did more research. So the Lilly family claimed it was they saw this creature standing over one of their daughter's bed. Claimed, and I looked into it, and people have claimed that there was a horrific car crash there around that area where a couple of people died, a couple of beatniks with their poetry and they're on the road with Jack Kerouac. So people just assumed that that's what that is.
A rogue beatnik.
A rogue beatnik
had come in.
If you had to be haunted by a subculture person,
Ooh,
who would you be haunted by?
I feel like goths are fairly harmless in the grand scheme of things, and
But goths would be the most terrifying to see.
they will be the most terrifying to see.
What about Harajuku Girl?
Oh yeah,
yeah, really good.
That'll be brilliant.
So kawaii.
But sometimes that might be a bit too intense, you know.
Yeah.
I think I kind of would want someone who's just a bit more kind of maybe a surfer dude.
Oh yeah, I feel like dude, surfs up in heaven.
Exactly. Like if I had to see someone all the time, I'd probably want someone who wasn't really morose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, at least Taylor's having a good time.
Someone I want a really big fan of Eminem.
Oh God,
it's like
a fucking juggalo.
Yeah, a juggalo. Imagine getting haunted by a juggalo.
Oh God.
God, whoop whoop, drinking my Faygo.
Kevin McGahern went to the gathering of the Juggalos and said it was the dirtiest place he'd ever been. Because they do that orange soda stuff where they just
Faygo.
Is that Faygo?
Yeah, or something along those lines. Yeah, it's like my name anyway. But there's a really good documentary. Check it out. It's on Vice called "The Gathering of Juggalos," and it looks disgusting. And I think I caught hep watching it.
If anyone doesn't know what a Juggalo is, they're basically people who follow Insane Clown Posse and kind of
Dark Lotus.
And are kind of like tend to just adopt their own kind of weird, kind of dirty clown persona.
Yeah, it's a lot of lower class white people in clown makeup.
Yeah,
but it was actually really sort of, they were all looking out for each other. They were all super high on meth and stuff like that. But they were all it looked like everyone had a good time. It was like body and soul with clown makeup on. You know what I mean? Everyone's really nice to each other and stuff like that. I still would never want to go. It looked dirty. There's poop everywhere.
But anyway, there was a man standing over the bed. It was a big man, very broad. I couldn't see his face very well, but I could see that he was grinning at me. He walked around the bed and stood right over me. I screamed again. I hid under the covers. When I looked up again, he was gone.
A ghost. So there is a lot of sightings of him, but it sort of as I said before, West Virginia, it's a sort of pride to have spotted Indrid Cold.
Jersey and West Virginia have the creepiest shit going.
Yeah. There's lots of really good ghost stories coming from West Virginia because a lot of people dying in mines, coal mines.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, it's a pride that you've seen Indrid Cold. So a lot of sort of, not copycats, what would the word be like? Sort of braggadocious people are like, oh, I definitely saw Indrid Cold in this area. And then another theory about Indrid Cold. Here we go.
Okay,
he's
Jesus.
actually an agent of MIB.
The MIB.
And he's here to investigate those like the Mothman, Bigfoot, Jersey Shore, and the ghost.
Well, it's funny you say that, Mark Jago, because aren't the MIB famously, or the Mount Pleasant appearances of the MIB also of an sallow skin, olive complexion, kind of slick black hair, all appeared around the same time as Mothman. These were the people who also kind of walked around, didn't fully know how to interact with humans, couldn't read social cues, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but then they didn't even know how to eat. They would
steak.
Move.
They got someone to cut steak.
The waitress had to show them how to physically eat steak, and when they did, they didn't chew, they just gulped it up, and when they moved, they seemed to move rigidly and not fluidly, like jump, 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 anywhere they went.
Yeah.
He could easily be one as well.
See, there's a lot of sort of what he could be, but the evidence is pretty word of mouth. And
having said that, let's hear some word of mouth, because I do have the daughter of Woodrow Derenberger.
Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow. Whisper the words, Woodrow.
Talking about how she kind of came to a realization that her father may have been telling the truth, although she actually believed. So, sorry. It's how her mother kind of came to terms with understanding this. She believed the whole time, and she actually said that Indrid Cold would visit her on a regular basis, and said that it wasn't scary, didn't grin too severely, and was actually even at her father's funeral.
Oh.
So when Woodrow Derringer, and you can listen to the entire interview where he goes up on a local news station the next day to tell, like literally last night, he says he met this guy, and you can watch the whole interview on YouTube. And he seems terrified, and Indrid Cold says to him, "We'll meet you again. Don't worry, we'll meet you again." And one of the guys is like, "And do you hope to meet him again?" He's like, "I do not. I hope to never see this man again." And apparently he did. He just kept messing with him. But anyway, this is his daughter talking a bit about her mother coming to terms with it.
Gone all the time. A lot of it was because people were coming over all the time.
Okay.
And Mom just couldn't take it. Mom denied a lot of this for years. And then when she was dying in 2009, she and I had a long talk. And she said something that I'd never heard before. That she would go to the store and she'd come home and Dad would tell her what she bought, who she saw, where she went, before she even barely got out of the car.
So what happened on 70?
So
some sort of...
he was a creep.
He was a little creep.
He was a creep.
He's like, "Here, tell your wife this, right? She bought 6 eggs, some Tampax, and there's cheaper
Tampax, new brand over there.
Yeah, she was fancy.
I give it an evidence 6.
6 as well.
Interesting.
Oh, it can't be 6 now, otherwise it will summon the beast.
Summon the bloody devil. Right, so look, all this thing, keeping in mind, is it, look, come on, is this cool?
Keep in mind, look.
Cool, baby.
Oh, brilliant. Hey.
Oh, very good. Very good. She's got a nice little note from Boss Alan saying, "Don't do a shit episode on the glass."
Or
Thanks very
Elsa.
much. Or Elsa. He's talking about Elsa from Frozen.
Yeah.
He watches Frozen on repeat in there and just be fapping away.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
It's so weird. Right,
and
so
as he comes, he just screams, "Let it go." So, is it cool?
Look, it ticks all the boxes for me. You got creepy pasta vibes of a grinning man, although he doesn't do anything creepy.
You've got
Male, but go on.
You've got male. No, you've got
Male.
implied danger. So
Not
that's
really at all.
No,
There's no implication.
No, that's the thing. I like cryptids where it's like implied that it could, like, there's no record of him ever hurting anyone, but he could hurt someone. I like that. I don't know why. I prefer that than a creature that fucking goes around and tears people's heads off and fucking.
In terms of the creepy implication, him staring at 2 Jersey boys as his first sighting isn't great, and then hovering over the bed of the other one.
Yeah.
And then saying, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing in your car there, man?
Hey.
It's me, Indrid Cold, and I'm not using my mouth.
I bleed. Yeah.
I bleed.
If
like
I
you.
bleed, you can kill me."
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm just a normal guy. Hey, us humans, we eat, we breathe, we sleep, we bleed even as you do.
Look how big I smile.
Look how big. I keep going. Look, my cheeks keep going.
It keeps going and going. I think. Exactly. He ticks all the boxes for me. Alien, unexplained, humanoid form, maybe like a big cover-up covering it.
Yep.
Whole town conspiracy. Like, there's definitely some small town out there who's actually hiding Indrid Cold.
Possibly.
I'm thinking of like, what was the name of that fucking movie?
Language.
What was the name of that flipping movie? With
Bleeding.
Wesley Snipes.
Blade.
No,
Demolition Man.
No, but he's a drag queen.
Tu Wong Fu or something like that.
Fu. Like that scene and that when the small town all come out as drag queens to try and fight the guys who were trying to persecute them.
Tu Wong Fu, thanks for everything.
Yeah,
Julie Newmar.
I'm thinking that's what it's like. So like one day the government will turn up to arrest Indrid Cold in a small rural town, and the rural town spirit will kick in, and everyone comes out dressed in a green suit, be like, "I'm Indrid Cold." No, I'm Indrid Cold.
Me and my wife's fucking Indrid Cold.
And then there's a dog in a green suit, and it goes, "Aroof."
Yeah, very good.
I'm Indrid Cold.
And then the subtitles say I'm Indrid Cold.
Yeah.
That's great. And in terms of popularity, it is quite popular. In terms of popularity, it's quite popular. Get that on a t-shirt. No, look, it's cool. It's popular. Indrid Cold is a name that comes up regularly.
Yeah, we're thinking of t-shirts, and we're thinking of that. That's going to be if it's popular, it's popular.
If it's popular, it's popular. In terms of popularity, it's popular. But yeah, and I mean, look, this thing is popular. It's in the movies. You know, people have heard about it. It's potentially the origin of. You know, it's got Slender Man vibes.
Yeah.
It's got creepypasta grinning.
It
man
was one
vibes.
of the
It was adopted heavily by the internet.
it was one of the sort of like original creepypastas that sort of spread through it. I remember fucking spending so long on creepypasta just reading all the stories.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm a bit freaked out at night, and I was like, I wonder why, because I read like 200 crap stories and one good one.
Do you know, the more I get off the internet and the more I get off getting deep into the internet, the more significantly happier I am. Now, am I living an ostrich life? You know, am I fucking head in the sand? Possibly.
So, but you haven't stopped listening to podcast.
No, and I never will.
Especially this one.
No. Yeah, that's not right. Yeah.
Okay.
I give it a cool of 7.
I give it a cool 7 too.
Did you?
Yeah.
We're
This is
syncing
kinda weird.
up.
Yeah, we're literally syncing up, and I
Although
don't like
we keep
it.
saying we're syncing up, and then sometimes we don't have the same score, and we're like, oh, will you do this? And then we do the same score. I think we just like each other.
Yeah. Tick the box. Do you like me? Yes, no.
Look, we know that it's a tall Sicilian man, but...
And he can't eat a steak.
We know it's a tall Sicilian man that can't eat a steak, but is it even sexy, this thing? I mean, it's kind of a man, so you should be like, yeah, but...
I think this is the closest we've come to an actual thing that we can say we can fuck.
But I don't want to have...
Don't say it.
What, I have to fuck this thing?
No,
I have to prove that I want to fuck this thing over a cat? Is that what you're saying to me?
You literally went on a big rant about phantom cats and how you thought it was acceptable to fuck. And then this humanoid creature who is fucking, has the brain of a human basically, but just a bit telepathic.
It's just a man.
It's just a man, yeah. You want a bit of danger. You want a bit of crime in your sex.
No, listen. I have to give it a courtesy score because it's a happy, tall, handsome, dark man. It's got Omar Hassan vibes written all over it.
Yeah.
But I'm just not into him.
Oh, he's just not into you. What would you do if you tried to come on to the Indrid Cold and he turned you down? And in your head, you're like, oh, I just think we should be friends.
I'd start screaming like racial slurs and homophobic slurs in my head so he'd hear them.
Oh, and you'd be like, oh.
Yeah. And I'd be like, Jesus, language out of you.
And
I'd be like,
I didn't say it out loud, so it's not.
And I have my fingers up against my temple and I'd be looking at him staring, shaking, and nosebleed like fucking number whatever her name is from Stranger Things.
11. But then
Whatever.
he could probably do the same to you, putting like loads of images of like rotting pig carcasses and shit in your head because he's telepathic.
Yeah, man. If you think that's anything better than the fucking screensaver I have going most of the time.
Yeah, no.
That's not true. I
think
live a very happy
this
life.
is one of the sexiest ones we have. It's
but it's not. A man is... Look, maybe a man is not sexier than a tick belang.
Oh, well, 100% a man is not sexier than
I'm
a tick
heterosexual.
I'm...
On the Kinsey scale, I'm probably 40% gay.
I don't think it goes in percentile.
Whatever. If it's a scale, it has to be an arrow pointing either way. I'm not in the middle. I'm probably...
Oh, you think you're thinking of it like an actual like rainbow sort of scale. I was thinking.
Well,
like
if it's a rainbow
slide.
scale, then it's much gayer than I thought it was.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying because it's a man. I wouldn't have sex with you. Know what I mean?
That was actually something when I got married. I'm like, I'm probably not going to have sex with a man now. And I was disappointed.
Yeah, and I remember that in your vows, and it was really odd.
It was weird, Bill. And I started listing all the men that I wanted to but would not have sex with. And I'm like,
Jason Momoa,
Chris Hemsworth,
Chris Evans.
See,
both of them.
See, this is the thing that makes me push up, I think, on the Kinsey scale, because I am not attracted to any kind of like nuanced man or anything like that. I'm just fucking go for broke, give me the hunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if there's
Henry
Cavill,
Cavill.
do you know what I mean? Someone who's marginally taller than me, who's really handsome. Like Paul Rudd, when we mates with him, I'm not like attracted to him.
Yeah.
A lot of women are, like, you know.
Paul Rudd is gorgeous. Like, yeah.
But he's a gorgeous man as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And, but I'm not into like Cillian Murphy or stuff like that. Loads of girls like Cillian Murphy and love that
he
kind
has very good cheekbones.
He's a good cheekbone. He's got stunning eyes, and he does a very good kind of gaunt thing. And some girls are into that. But I'm not into any kind of nuance of that. So that makes me think that I'm even more straight than I give myself credit for. Having said that, I'd want to fuck a cat over this thing, and I give it a sex appeal 7.
Sex appeal 7. I actually did look at just to prove. I'm showing you my score now.
7.
Yeah,
because an average human is 5.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, keep that in mind. Average human is 5. Is this more or less sexy than a human?
More telepathic. So it could, like, even if it's shite sex, you could put in the image in your head that it's good sex.
That is Chris Hemsworth.
It's Chris. He could turn into whatever you want.
Oh, 9. No, it's still 7.
Yeah, 7. All right.
Okay, shit. Okay, fuck. I always freak out.
Okay, shit. Okay, fuck.
Okay.
I have a name.
Sorry, Jacob. Okay, 6 plus 6 is 12. Plus 7 plus 7.
I do the math.
Okay, fine. Right.
Wait, let me do the math.
Jacob, give me the scores.
Fighting 6, evidence 6, cool 7, sex 7, sex appeal 7, which leaves a total of
26.
26, which puts
this motherfucker. Which puts this motherfucker in. It puts this motherfucker in 24th place.
Whoa, that's not bad, is it?
That's not bad. I mean,
it's above half.
No, hang on. It'd be 23rd place. So just behind, actually a lot at 26. You have in joint, whatever, something's place, but this would be 26 in the score you see here. Or 23rd, whatever. Yeah. You've got the Tikbalang, the Kappa, the Banshee, the Mermaid, and the Manticore all in the same kind of 26.
What is... Fucking Manticore, no, not at all. What's Tikbalang sexy?
Tikbalang is a 10 sexy. I scored that one.
That's fair enough, yeah, I'll give you that.
Way sexier. So this thing is what, sex appeal? So you've got the Manticore we had as a higher sex appeal than an actual human. So... So there you have it. Right, so...
So there you have it.
Welcome to the Premier Crypt, Indrid. Welcome to the Premier Crypt, Indrid Cold. We've really ousted ourselves here as people who look. We're looking for sponsors. I'm not going to go into it, but anyway, welcome to the Premier Crypt. Okay, but let's have a little bit of top trumps.
Gonna win as a Tony and Jago, putting a wolfman against a mermaid. Pick one team and the theatre screams at the part of the show that we call Top Trumps.
So, Jago, I have a confession to make about Top Trumps.
Yeah, go on. Tell me. What have we done?
What did you do?
Oh, no, did I do something?
No. Okay, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games of Top Trumps.
Yeah.
One of which we had a draw.
Yeah.
And we have to do. So overall, we have played 9 hands of Top Trumps.
Yeah.
I have cheated 3 separate times.
Tony, how?
Okay. I played the Manticore twice. I played the Mermaid, that was a draw. I played the Manticore and lost. The next week, I played the Manticore again and lost without realising. Then the next week, I played the Tokolosh and lost. The following week, I played the Chitauri and won. Then I played the Chitauri again and I won. And then I played 2 weeks in a row the Mongolian Deathworm, lost both times, and then a Troll. So
you've been reusing them?
I have. Yeah.
What the fuck? How did this happen?
Because I couldn't remember which ones I was doing. So, but look, if you keep this in mind, right? I have played the Manticore and the Mongolian Deathworm. I've played twice. No, I played essentially 4 times. I played them twice and lost twice both times.
Yeah.
So the 2 times that I won, it hasn't cancelled out.
So they cancelled each other out, basically.
So basically, yeah. But more so, I've maybe playing the Manticore twice and losing twice, and playing the Chitauri twice and winning twice, cancel each other's out. But because I'm just so fucking stupid, I play the Mongolian Deathworm again twice in a row. So currently the scores are 6 to you.
Yeah.
And 2 to me.
Yeah. So, but
we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 left. So I could still win.
You can still win.
I can still win. It's
Probably
not,
won't. Because looking at my next couple, I'm just like, oh, poor Tony turned poor little suckle on my teeth, Tony.
Get me to suckle on your teeth, for God's sake. I won't. Okay, Mark Jago. What are the name of our teams again?
I cannot remember.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. So I'm going to shuffle my cards here. And I'm going to pull... Oh, I pulled the Yeti. Oh, fuck!
Oh, my God!
All right, Jamie, cut that.
No, you will not. The Yeti.
Okay, I'm shuffling my cards. Shuffle. And I pulled the Yeti.
Okay, the Yeti. Shit.
Which, if you don't know, we did Electric Picnic. I was really hungover and I just wanted it to be over really quickly. So
you gave
I really high scores really quickly. Okay? And I chose cool factor. Oh, for fuck's sake. And my cool factor, do you have the list there, do you?
It's 10.
It's 10, Tony.
Fucking hell.
10 Tonys.
Right.
What did you...
I have the Wendigo.
Oh, and how did he go?
He go 8.5.
8.5. So who won that?
Ew.
Yeah. So again, gonna stick with Team Jago's cool.
That's a shit name.
Still true though. And then Team Ingrown Pube.
Fair.
Ingrown Pube.
Ingrown Pube it is.
Yeah, Ingrid Pube.
Ingrid Pube.
Yeah, Ingrown Pube. Team Tony, the Ingrown Pube.
Great job, Mark Jago.
Yeah.
What are you going to get tattooed on me?
Well, we don't know yet. I have some ideas.
Well, if you would like to buy your top trumps, they will be on sale. I don't know. Eventually, they're going to be class. Anyway, here's Freak Encounters.
It'd be a great drinking game, you know.
Shut up for a second. No matter what they tell us.
Freak Encounters.
Oh, brilliant. You spit your cheek?
I bit my cheek really hard there.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, it would be a great drinking game.
Yeah, it would be like, I got the Manticore, let's get white girl wasted.
Right, this week's Freak Encounter comes in from Stephen Lee. Thank you very much, Stephen Lee. Stephen Lee sent in his Freak Encounter via the email. But you can send in your Freak Encounter in the same way, sexybeastpod@gmail.com or on the old Instagram, sure fucking why not, sexybeastpod.
And you could send it to our Twitter, but somehow we got banned from Twitter.
Yeah, we need to fix that. They think that we're 6 or something.
Yeah, they think we're younger than we are. Don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
I tried to send them a picture of my passport and they were like, that doesn't count as ID. And I was like, why not? So anyway, Freak Encounter by Stephen Lee.
By Stephen Lee. Now I've had to cut this down because it's a bit long. Hope you don't mind. I drove my truck down the highway, telling my wife about the local legends of a small farm town where I'd spent my childhood. Due to an unsettling hunting experience, she had a fear of Bigfoot, so I thought it would be funny to scare her with the stories that were shared by the crusty farmers of my past. I could see that the stories were making her uncomfortable, so I continued to tease and torment her with the dark tales. She was nearly to the point of asking me to stop when I mentioned the small town being on a scenic route that happened to be on the way to our destination. She was determined to show me that she was not intimidated by my little stories and mentioned that she would like to see the place that was so cryptic and dark. I couldn't resist. Cryptic and dark. Oh, you just said the word cryptid?
Yeah.
Nice contribution, Jago. I couldn't resist. She was setting herself up for the scare of a lifetime, and I knew exactly how to create the ultimate scary experience. Soon we found ourselves on winding dirt roads, the setting sun just starting to cast its long shadow, then the sleeping town came into view. When we finally reached my childhood home, the sun had set low behind the mountain. The old pioneer home sat right at the base of the looming hillside. I pointed to a small dirt road that was completely surrounded by thick pine. I told my wife that most of the legends had occurred up that road and started to drive towards it. I couldn't shake the awful feeling that I was playing with things I did not understand, but we were already there. The road was small, and due to the thick foliage casting permanent shadows, the snow had been packed down and frozen into the surface. A very noticeable drop in temperature added to the atmosphere I was hoping to create, and our ascent up the winding road began. I'm just going to go back to the tunes again. Several minutes had passed when the road came to an abrupt end. A large chain link fence limited all who came to continue, blah, blah, blah. We travelled on foot. We sat in the cold truck talking about how it was a fun trip and we should be getting home. Still, I was genuinely curious about the chain fence blocking the path. I clearly remembered the road being open to the public only years before. There was no visible signs prohibiting trespassers, so I decided to take a look around. My wife advised against it, mentioning that we were already behind schedule and that it was stupid to walk around the woods after dark. She was right. I opened up the door of my truck and the air turned to ice. I could hardly breathe. My foot hit the ground at the same moment I looked down the length of the fence and noticed a figure that had not been there moments before. It looked nothing like the stories I'd been telling during our trip. The figure looked sickly, long limbs that reminded me of an emaciated elderly man fell limply to its gaunt figure's side. This being could not be alive. Its current condition suggested that it was not only dead, but in a state of decay, thin skin stretched tight over its bones like parchment ready to tear. It was frigid, and the air hurt to breathe, but no cold from my entire life could compare to the empty chill I felt while looking at this being. I jumped back into my truck and drove faster than I had in my entire life. My wife was silent, and I began to sob. No matter how far we travelled, from the being, I couldn't shake the cold. And I couldn't drive fast enough. I'm going to play with tunes over time. And I couldn't drive fast enough to escape the terror I just felt. And I knew that whatever I had just witnessed was the closest thing to evil I would ever encounter in this life. Weeks later, after I was willing to talk to my wife about it, she decided to go to the bottom of it, and she combed through local legends. After a while, she came to the conclusion and said she knew what it was. You see, the land was originally inhabited by indigenous people, and legends told of the cold winters and monsters that would show themselves in the coldest parts of winter. She showed me a picture, and the cold entered my soul again. It was, without a doubt, the Wendigo. Oh, Stephen Lee, thank you very much for writing that, and very well written and painted
very
a
well,
gorgeous picture. The Wendigo,
very taut skin.
The same fucking Wendigo that wasn't apparently cool enough to beat a fucking Yeti. And you know what? It's way cooler than the Yeti. The Wendigo is way cooler than the Yeti.
It's 100% is, but at the time we had a guest and I was hungover, so.
Yeah.
Also, I couldn't stop laughing when he said frigid, and I was like, "Hey, live frigid."
Grow up, Jago. Jago, do you have some West Virginian proverb?
I do, an Appalachian saying here now. I'm going to do it in my best Appalachian accent. I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it building a nest in your hair.
Very good. Thank you, Mike Jago.
Girl, you got that sexy beast. You're just so sexy. All you like is monsters. Are you cryptid, Bigfoot, Wendigo? Well, there's a cracking.
Once upon a time on the west of last my man.
Who just said, fuck said you could laugh at me, smack with me. With a Bigfoot dick, you can slap at me, blasphemy. You could dare come at me with a Bigfoot dick and a Loch Ness monster pussy. Baby, sexy beast.
This has been a Podcast Network production. I am really sexy.
This has been a production of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.